So I'm wondering if I do the whole week 3 video with this mask on, will you be able to take me seriously? Will you be able to focus on what I'm saying? Remember the 5th of November. It's a little bit creepy, right? Yeah. It's the point of the mask, I guess. Creepiness. Welcome to week 3. You have just finished, hopefully, reading book 1 of V for Vendetta, Europe After the Rain. And I want to commend you for your discussion board postings about the beginning of the novel. They're very in-depth. You guys are doing a really good job, guys and girls, ladies and men. Doing a really good job of analyzing the novel, both with the text and with the graphics. So thumbs up to that. Doing a wonderful job, and keep up the good work. So let's talk a little bit about the introduction of this book, because it really does start off with a bang, literally and figuratively, and gets right into the action. I know some of you had some issues with the language at the beginning. It is very confusing, and as I pointed out in one of the posts, there's a reason for that. V at the beginning, when he saves Evie from the fingerman, is quoting Shakespeare's Macbeth. So you can tell people that you're reading Macbeth as well as reading a comic book in this class. It'll make you feel better. Just looking at the frames at the beginning, you learn a lot about the story and a lot about the tone of the story, which was the topic of discussion last week. And like I said before, you all did a really good job of analyzing the tone that was set very early on by both the artist and the author as well. Let's talk about the characters that we met in book 1, because there was a lot packed into that particular book. You meet all the main characters. You meet Evie. You learn she's an orphan. You learn that she has a job in munitions, which is weapons, and that it doesn't pay her enough, and that's why she's turned to prostitution. Unfortunately for her, on her first night of her attempt at prostitution, she gets caught by the fingerman. Then you meet V. He literally swoops in and saves the damsel in distress. Very old storyline, hero story. And you also begin to meet some of the figures in the government, Finch and Almond, the leader, and Prothero, who's the voice of fate on the radio. And all these characters come into play in book 1 in one way or the other. It's a lot to take in, and once you read book 1 and get through it, I would advise you almost kind of just to go back through and look it over. I'm not saying you have to read it all over again, but if you read through it kind of quickly, it's kind of going to get all colluded in your head, who's who, and especially being able to associate the graphic drawing of the person with the character. So being able to tell who you're looking at in the graphic is very important. So you want to go back and make sure that your associations with the name and graphic and who those people are is all set before you go forward with book 2. So reading the graphics, and I had mentioned before that reading a graphic novel really makes you focus on the detail of each frame, and a number of you noted in your posts how much of the story you found within the frames itself, and a number of you had some really good in-depth insights into what you found in the graphics, the books on the shelves, the lights in the windows, the way the scenes were lit, how the tones and colors changed when they moved to the shadow gallery. These are all things that are in the text, that are in the pictures, that give you some clues to the story and to the character, the depth of the character. So continue really looking at those things as closely as you did in book 1. One of the things I wanted to show you, which is kind of not really hidden in this particular novel, but something you might have missed, and some people picked it up, so you didn't all not see it. But if you're reading through it fast, you may not notice that the first page of book 1 is this graphic of this hand setting something down on the floor. And it's kind of vague. You really can't tell what it is that's being set down. But when you start book 2, you'll notice that book 2 opens with this graphic. And here you have the hand again, but he's setting down a number of items, and in this graphic you can clearly tell it's dominoes. So the beginnings of each book are kind of laying out some groundwork for you. They're hinting to you what the storyline's really about. It's V, and he's setting up a plot that might be much bigger than the police really are even grasping. And Finch is kind of getting it at the book 1. He proposes that it might be he's just on this vendetta to kill all the people that were associated with Larkhill, but then again, that might just be phase 1 of his plan while he's working towards this greater goal goal of governmental overthrow. So again, the text is giving you some hints, you just have to look for it, and that's the beauty, I think, and the challenge of reading a graphic novel, is that there's more than meets the eye with the text, and you really have to take good long looks at what's in the graphics as well. So what's on board for week 3? In this folder you will find some assignments. You have a little bit of work this week. You have you're going to read book 2, The Vicious Cabaret, which is, I think, the best book of the 3 and contains some really key, strong, pivotal points of the graphic novel. One of which you're going to do some analysis on this week. It's the speech that V gives to the British public when he takes over the radio station. You'll find a link to the movie version of that scene in this folder. The two are very different, and I'd like your thoughts and ideas on why you think the movie decided to take a different track with that speech. And also in this particular folder you'll see that there's an introduction to your first essay. It's the narrative essay, and it is due by the end of next Sunday, which is September 20th. So you actually have about 2 weeks to write it, and the instructions and what I'm looking for, how long it has to be, are all there in week 3's folder. So good luck to you. Have fun, continue being engrossed by the graphic novel, really get into it. You don't have to like it. It is a tough graphic novel. There's some pretty scrappy, dirty, nasty things going on, but really kind of examine what the message is that's being sent and how the characters are all playing a role in that message. So that's all for now. Oh, in this folder also you'll be talking about fascism. I forgot about that one. You'll see a link to a article, very short article, about what fascism actually is, and I'd like you to post a little bit of a brief discussion about fascism as a governmental concept. Please have a good week. I'll see you again soon.